More money than ever is flowing into mutual funds that buy both stocks and bonds. And one of the funds benefiting, I should say, is the Villere Balanced Fund. It's doing very well for its investors. The fund has returned 35% over the past year, making it the top performer among the 225 balanced U.S. equity funds tracked by Bloomberg. And it's also one of the top performers over the long term. Sandy Villere is co-manager of the fund. Remember, we told you it was family run. He is also one of the three family members who run the Villere Company, which turns 100 this year. So welcome to Close on Street Smart. Thanks so much for joining us. Let me get, first of all, we were just talking with Barry Ritholtz earlier, and he says this is kind of one of the most difficult times to call the market direction since the bottom in March of 2009.
Sure.
Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, it's a very uncertain economic climate. I mean, a lot of the stocks that we're focusing on actually make money in these uncertain times, and that's what, as a stock picker rather than a top-down person, that's what I'm focused on for my clients.
And Sandy, we're going to talk about your stock picks, but we're going to push the macro a little bit. I mean, how much do you pay attention to the day-to-day gyrations, the day-to-day headlines, whether it's Europe, whether it's the U.S. fiscal situation, whether it's economic news? I mean, how closely do you watch any of that in terms of finding clues about potential investment bets?
Sure. I mean, you look at all the issues out there. I mean, you look at the contagion in Europe. I mean, this is something that we're watching carefully. How much is it going to leak into to the rest of what's going on? You look at the current situation in the U.S., the debt ceiling. What are we going to do there? Quantitative easing. There's a lot of issues that I'm watching, but I bring it back and I try to find my individual stocks and try to work at companies with low PE to growth and good companies, good balance sheets. That's what I'm focused on.
Is it tougher to find companies in this environment? Just quickly.
No, I mean, frankly, I think this environment, frankly, is if you have 2 out of 10 people that are actually bullish and the rest are bearish, then it's kind of creating opportunities for me.
So you talk a lot about the companies. You think this is an easier climate in which to pick the companies to outperform. Why is that? I
just think if you're a stock picker, this is kind of, you want to be in an uncertain climate. You want to buy the companies that have good balance sheets, that have throw off a lot of free cash flow. You just really want to drill into what we do, which is visiting company management, kicking the tires, and maybe taking advantage of others that might be fearful. Be fearful when others are greedy, greedy when others are fearful. What
is your criteria? You give it to us, because I know that's what Adam's really working on. He's trying to put together kind of a Sandy screen. So what do you look for?
So the first thing we do is we look for companies with low price to earnings relative to growth. We want to find that. Then you want to look at companies that throw off a lot of free cash flow, and then you want to find companies with very little debt on the balance sheet. We like very healthy companies, and then we want to have companies that dominate their particular niche, though they're diamonds in the rough. People may not have heard of these companies, but they dominate their particular niche that they're involved with. High barriers to entry.
Hey, and Adam, you've actually been crunching some numbers for our guests. Why don't you take it away here?
All right, Sandy, here you go. We did a little homework for you, and we used those very parameters you just talked about. I came up with, well, 8. I'm going to give you 3, and I want to get your opinion on them. Again, here they are: Apple, Gilead, Peabody Coal. You're paying a low PE versus a high growth rate. They have low debt. Here are 3 names: Apple, Gilead, Peabody Coal. What do you make of them?
Sure. If you look at Apple, it's kind of funny. I think if let's just say you're in a restaurant and 98 out of 100 people have an Apple, I do not want to be involved with that stock. Okay, I want to buy it when there's 2 people in the room that have an Apple and 98 that don't. So that's an easy one for me, I think. Even if it might be my screen, it's not something that I want to be involved with. I think.
Have you ever owned it?
I've never owned Apple, and but I look back at history. I look at Nokia in the 90s. I look at other companies along the way that it's very hard to reinvent yourself every month, whatever they have to do. So that's a tough one for me to own right now.
Any thoughts on the other names that Adam brought up? Gilead and Adam, what was the other one?
Yeah, we've got Gilead and Peabody Coal. Gilead has the HIV/AIDS franchise. Peabody Coal, of course, they mine for coal all over the place, including down in Australia, so they are making the sales to China. So there are a couple of names, Gilead, Peabody Coal. What do you make of them, Sandy?
Yeah, these are companies that I think are quite interesting, but those where I haven't met management, I haven't gone through and applied our process of kicking the tires and trying to figure out things that I like about them. So those are 2 that there's thousands of stocks out there, and 2 that I'm not very interested in right now.
All right, and you do visit with management, so let's get to some of the companies that you do
like. What are you interested in?
And I want to actually, I don't know if we can, well, we'll start wherever, but I want to start with this one, because this is what, 3D Systems.
Yeah, this is a company, 3D Systems, and again, we like to buy diamonds in the rough. However, this morning they actually opened the New York Stock Exchange, so maybe it's getting a little bit more notoriety than I would have thought. So new ticker symbol, DDD. They basically sell 3D printers, so you might have a...
And that's
this is one of the products that'll actually come off of one of their printers.
It's black. So let me put a little paper behind it here. Can we Can we come in on this?
There we
This
go.
is Walt Disney's head,
There you go.
apparently.
Right.
So that came off the printer.
Which
Yeah, this
Sandy
comes-
made on his 3D printer today. My buddy at Piaggio actually makes really cool stuff for his motorcycle with
Right.
that. He just got to be psyched about it.
It's very interesting. I mean, so you have a giant a printer that just think of it as a giant vat of liquid. And you have a laser that goes over, and it actually goes over in layers until it actually makes one of these things. Their customers are people that you know. I mean, this is Motorola, this is Boeing, this is 3M. They're in so many different verticals. They're in the dental industry. They even make prosthetics. They're in the hearing aid industry.
The
Very
stock's
exciting.
up more than 200% though over the last 12 months.
Sure.
That doesn't worry you.
No, not if you just look at the simple. If you look at the PE to growth, this is still trading at 17 times what my forward earnings look like, and it's growing at 20% organically. And then if you look at acquisitions that they're going to make, it's going to be north of that. Clean balance sheet, no debt at all, $75 million in cash.
All right, so DDD is the ticker.
Yep.
3D is that stock. What else do you like?
I like another company. The ticker is EGOV, but it's called NIC Inc. This is the leader in e-government, if you will. So they have 23 states. It's about 98 million total population.
They make websites for states.
Yeah, they host, they design, and they basically they do it from soup to nuts each state's website. So it's a very interesting thing. If you believe that people are going to continue to renew their driver's licenses online, then this company should do well. They've thrown off so much cash since 2007. They've paid out 117 million in special one-time dividends. So
Right, got it.
it's one that I love.
It's had a great run too in the last 12 months,
Yeah.
up 100%. Sandy, great stuff. Sandy Villere. We're going to have you come back because I know you got more names for us, so we'll have you come back real
Great.
soon.
Well, thank you very much. Enjoyed it.
Sandy, thank you so much.